When it comes to shouldering the extraordinary costs associated with protecting the president and his family, New York has paid dearly. According to the city's police commissioner, the police department had spent $300,000 a day protecting Trump Tower between Election Day and Inauguration Day, and between $127,000 and $145,000 a day since then, on top of other costs. As Mayor Bill de Blasio told me, that adds up to millions of taxpayer dollars.
Well, Chris, for the period just from the election to the inauguration was about $24 million. And then in the period since the inauguration, when President Trump's actually been in Washington, you're talking in some cases up to $150,000 a day. So this has been a real expense protecting Trump Tower. I mean, that's different than when a president comes to town, you know, for a day or something. But the ongoing expense is protecting Trump Tower. That's been a real burden on the NYPD. You've
gotten money in the continuing resolution, I think, via Senator Chuck Schumer, who put that in for you and other municipalities like West Palm Beach. Basically, does that square the balance sheet for the city?
Chris, it makes us substantially whole up to the inauguration, and it gives us a good amount for the period going forward. But this is something that we'll have to come back to in the future to deepen and renew, and the same with Florida, the same with New Jersey. It's a good start. I want to be clear. I want to thank, Senator Schumer and Congressman Lowy and others who made this happen. It's a good, strong start, but it's something we'll have to keep attending to.
Well, last time that you and I talked, the president had issued an executive order about so-called sanctuary cities, New York City being one of them. That order has now been stopped. Order stayed in court. Jeff Sessions quite angry about that, disparaging the judges that issued those rulings. What is your position about that order?
We believe the original executive order on sanctuary cities was, first of all, it wasn't what it said to be. It was supposed to be something, quote unquote, to enhance safety. It has nothing to do with enhancing safety. It's all about demonizing immigrants. We have a situation here in the safest big city in America where we have 1 million people, Chris, who are either undocumented or green card holders who have been part of making us safe, and the NYPD has a cooperative relationship with immigrant communities. My position is that executive order was contradictory in terms of its substance and contradictory in terms of its legal basis. This court case you mentioned the other day proved immediately that the foundation of the executive order was specious, and we've said all along, if they try to actually implement it, we'll go to court immediately, and we believe will prevail.
Have you had any contact with the Attorney General of the United States since the Department of Justice referred to New York City as essentially soft on crime?
You're exactly right. In writing, the Department of Justice said New York City is soft on crime, and my message to Jeff Sessions was that was an insult not only to New York City, but to the men and women of the NYPD, and he should come here and say that to their faces. This is a city that has driven down crime very successfully for decades. In the last 3 years I've been mayor, crime's gone down 3 years in a row, and that's with our cooperative relationship with immigrant communities, with the 93% decline in stop and frisk. So that was a total insult to this city and our police. I have not talked to Jeff Sessions about it. Look, it's an attempt at political provocation. A lot of what Jeff Sessions is doing it's fundamentally politics and symbolism. It has nothing to do with public safety. He's supposed to be the chief law enforcement officer in his country. How do you denigrate the #1 police force in the United States if you're supposed to be the chief law enforcement officer?
We're getting word that there is going to be a vote, perhaps improbably, but there will be a vote tomorrow in the House on the newest version of the House GOP health care bill. What would be the effects for the city in concrete terms were this to become law?
1 million New Yorkers would stand to lose their health insurance. 24 million people nationally.
Wait a second, 1 million people in the city?
1 million of the 8.5 million people in this city would stand to lose their health insurance if this bill became law, because the Affordable Care Act reached so many New Yorkers who didn't have insurance. Now 1 million of them would be in jeopardy under this specific language of losing their insurance. 24 million people nationally. Chris, it would also have a horrible impact on our public hospitals, which are already in tough shape financially, but depend on insurance money to keep going. A huge number of the folks who go to those emergency rooms, go to take up those hospital beds, won't have insurance anymore. That would fall on the taxpayers in New York City to pay a huge number of domino effects. And look at the national perspective, the fact that you'd have pre-existing conditions no longer covered. I think that's a time bomb ticking both in terms of the health of this country, but also politically for Donald Trump. That's going to be a very, very hard thing for him to explain why that guarantee that President Obama created will now no longer be available to Americans.
All right, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Chris.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.